I came to Prince William County 14 years ago. I was recruited by George Mason University to found a College of Visual and Performing Arts. We had a couple of very big projects that my background was suited to support, primarily here in Prince William, building the Hilton Performing Arts Center. My wife and I were looking for a place to live. We landed in Manassas on one beautiful July day, and there was a band concert out on the lawn. The kids were playing. It was spectacular. And we just lay there under the trees and said, boy, this is where we got to live. So we built a home and happily built the Hilton Performing Arts Center, and also happily the college has been a success. And I just retired as the dean about a month and a half ago, but I retain my title. I am a professor and the Heritage Chair for Cultural Criticism at George Mason. And so when I finish my brief sabbatical, I'll return to the classroom. Well, I was asked, and I was asked in short order by people from both parties, because I think they knew that I was retiring in my role as dean. And at first I hesitated, like probably many people would. And then I began to really evaluate just what the meaning of the school system is in my life and our collective lives. And I realized if I didn't do it, well, then who should do it? And I say, you know, people at my stage are supposed to do one of two things: either sit on the porch and take it easy, or actually pick up a really big rock. And part of the reason that we're able to pick up a really big rock is because we have realized we can't do it alone. And that in order for that rock to get moved, we have to build a community of people who are willing to work at it. And that's something that I do well. And I have tremendous relationships and support, both in the County Board of Supervisors, with leadership throughout the county, with the schools themselves. I've worked on many, many projects over the years with our schools and other school systems. So I think the reason is that I believe that who I know, what I know, how I work is relevant and actually is needed. So I'm honored to have been asked, and I'm honored to run. First of all, the reason we're here is because the county is beginning to flourish. We have been a target for people to move here, just like we did, you know, for the last 15, 20 years. So we've had an explosive population growth. And we have to remember, because we've forgotten already, that we had a sequestration, we had a major real estate crisis, we had a banking crisis, we had several very bad economic blows that came right when we were growing. So this didn't happen because of poor planning. It really happened because of economic factors that were out of everybody's control. Fortunately, we're coming into a much better time now, and we have to play catch up, and we have to prepare for the continued growth. The demographic studies show we're at about 86, 87,000 students now. We're going to go to 120,000 over the next 10 years. So it becomes a really significant strategic issue for the schools, for the county, for the community. And the whole point of the trade-offs, the tension between other needs is real. The only way to solve that is for us to gather together and to line up several key planning initiatives. The budget planning for the county, the budget planning for the school, and we have to do two really important things. We have to clarify that the money we are spending now is well invested. And when you get to $1 billion budget, there's always something that could be adjusted. So we have to have a practice that really gives everyone confidence. Okay, we're managing our money wisely. That's step one. Step two, we have to engage people in this conversation. It's too big for the school board. It's too big for the superintendent. It's too big for the county board, but it's not too big for all of us together. It's not. And you know, as the beauty of running for office is that you walk and knock, you meet people. And I haven't met one person who doesn't believe that we should not invest more successfully in our schools. And most of the people realize that this is a very serious discussion that's going to have to take an alignment of decision makers. And again, I think that's part of the strength that I do bring, is I've been in those exercises before, and I know that you get there by encouraging people, trying to manage fear, trying to manage all the negativity that naturally is there when there's this much real tension in a classroom that really is too crowded. We've got to get the teachers involved in this, because the teachers, the children, the parents, they really form the mandate from which the solution will emerge. I wish I could tell you there was a light switch. It's not. It's a process. And it's a process that we can and we should and we really will undertake. And you know what? 5 years from now, we'll know we've really made big progress. 10 years from now, people will look back and they'll say, you know, Prince William was a leadership county. We've been a leadership before. There's no reason we can't be a leadership now. But it's not going to happen as a battle. It's going to happen as a strategic alignment and collaboration. Diversity is the new raw material. It's the new source of wealth. It's the new source of synergy. The most important question that you can ask when you enter a challenging period is, what could we do together that we can't do alone? And there's always an answer to that question. Now we have two ingredients in diversity, which I think we need a fresh way of seeing. Let's talk about English as a second language, which is a challenge for our schools, a challenge for our teachers. My feeling is way back when you know, at one time we had a quote-unquote missile gap, right? We now have a language gap. And instead of thinking of it as how do we get these second language students up to proficiency so they can pass the standards of learning test so that our schools won't be given a failing grade, that's really, English is critical as a language of the world, and we have to continue to do that. But there's a second question that we aren't asking. What about all the rest of the students, and what is their second language going to be? It's not enough to have one language now. We're a global society. For a child to leave school and only have one language, that's a severe limitation. So my question is, well, what are we doing about teaching foreign languages to all children? In America, we have a language gap. And if we think because of arrogance that English is the only thing that matters, we unnecessarily limit the options that our children have access to. So, but English really does matter. The reason English became the language of the world is because of computer science. All computer science literature is written in English. And it took over. I'm involved with the Confucius Institute at George Mason University. Our institute promotes the teaching of Chinese language and culture in schools and in communities, you know, throughout America. When we go to China, we don't speak Chinese, we all speak English. People from all over the world. It's the global language. So I am not saying that we should not support the second language students to master English. They must. But the real gap is, I was invited by the Pentagon 5 years ago to attend a 2-day symposium that was led by 5 five-star generals. The subject was the language gap in the U.S. military. And General Schwartz, the head of the Air Force, and each one of these generals got up and spoke to us in a second language. These men were all fluent in more than just English. He got up and said, I now have a weapon which will kill any human being that will ever be born. I don't actually need another weapon. I need a soldier who can speak a second language and go into a village and talk to a child. And the whole effort that weekend was, how do we increase, how do we diminish this language gap? So part of diversity is the Native American English speaking population having the courage, having the opportunity, maybe even the requirement to tackle a second language. The other thing though, which is accelerating the power of diversity, is technology. Technology is suddenly allowing us to create whole new networks and new permutations. We use the word big data. Big data is created from little data, right? So you have all these silos: second grade, third grade, fourth grade, administration, teachers. And inside those are all the lives of all the people doing things, and that's data. It can all go into this great big place right now, and it's slightly boundaried, right? Second grade is the second grade. It goes to this thing, and all of a sudden you say, well, what is it we're really trying to do? And the answer is, well, climate's a big issue. We need to solve the problem. In the Middle East, a couple weeks ago, the combined temperature of the heat and the humidity was 175 degrees. Well, you can't sustain human life at 175 degrees. So we need to solve that. And to do those kind of food safety, I say the best classroom in Prince William is the landfill. How do you get all levels, right, to start studying the opportunities and the issues of the modern world? And the answer is technology is going to suddenly allow what I had as a child growing up, the one-room country schoolhouse, which is adults and children, second grade, eighth grade, rich, poor, Spanish-speaking mother tongue, Arabic-speaking mother tongue, English, to realign. And it's going to take place in the lifetimes of the children who are now in school. So diversity is, and then the third big piece, so you have language, you have technology, and then the third big piece, which the children today have to wrestle to the ground, is governance. Peter Drucker, before he passed away, wrote a letter to a friend and said, mankind has not invented the governance models that the world now needs. We need a new Magna Carta. We need a new Bill of Rights. The world now needs something that we haven't invented yet. And our children will be expected to pull that off. And it's not going to be less diverse. It's going to be structured out of more diversity. As we work through these very challenging, very complex new circumstances, I like to think of it in a really simple way. If it shrinks my universe, that's not the way to go. If it expands my universe, then we should go ahead courageously and pursue it. So I think diversity is the new raw material. And Prince William County, I mean, look at the sweet spot that we sit in. We're small enough that we can actually create a sense of governance. We're in the heart of the Silicon Valley of the East, right? So we've got technology, brains permeating our world, and we are now a minority-majority county. So we are a diverse county. The raw material. And, you know, as it says in the Bible, to whom much is given, much is expected. So it kind of circles back around, why are you running? A lot is being expected. And, you know, I hope that I get a chance to contribute to that. Community builder. All of us are smarter than one of us, especially if I'm the one. And what can we do together that we can't do alone?
Thank you.
Thank you.